Welcome back to the show, everybody. We have had a chance to get a nice rest and get some food and get yourselves recovered from your brief battle with the creatures of the statue. So now, Gorik and Rose, you've been led over to the kind of living quarters of the servants of this manor.
Before they leave, can I have given a magic candle to Rose and kind of explained to her how to use it?
Sure. Yeah. That could have happened at any point, really. You've had these candles for a while. So, Rose, you have one of these violet candles that were...
How did they work again? They were related to spirits or something, but I can't remember.
You use a... Let me see. I have it written down. Give me 1 second. I have these somewhere. Candles of spirit warding. They burn on the power of living soul. Spend hit dice to light the candle. Glows with a 30-foot radius. The candle will burn for a number of hours equal to the hit die roll. Ghosts and spirits will not be able to enter the radius of the warding.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yep. I'll take one. I hope I won't need it.
All right.
Just in case.
So, you are led over to the living area of the servants of this manor. You see a bunch of kind of flat houses just kind of grouped together. They seem to be individual homes for families to stay at. They're all spaced out, kind of like a modern subdivision. They have enough room to kind of be private, but they're pretty close together, and all kind of spaced out here. You probably count upwards of 40 homes in this area. And you are led to a home with a thatch roof that still needs some mending. And inside on a bed is a man who is just covered in bandages, and like you can see that rods have been placed on his back that he is bound to keep him straight. Meanwhile, a youngish woman tends to him and greets you as you come in. Hello. We've been informed that seekers might be coming to talk. The pain is still great for him these days, but he's coming around. We should be able to answer questions as you need.
Did a healer see him?
Yes. Set the bones. Made sure that he's going to recover. We have... She kind of points over to a pot over in the corner simmering. Instructions for a tonic to ease the pain. So we are on the road to recovery, yes.
Taking a look at him, Greg, it looks like the immediate injuries have been healed over. Does this look like something that lesser restoration could, like, set his broken back?
Are you here?
Oh, right. Never mind. I forgot that we split up. I'm just going to mute myself.
Okay, I was about to
like it wasn't split again. I can't remember.
I think it's just you and me. And the phrase "taking a look at" is not something that I can make right now. So,
so I'm gonna take. Yeah, I think I'll just cry. I'll still. It's kind of awkward because Rose quietly describes, still to go like what is happening, and they are probably slightly confused until they realize that he's blind, and they're just like.
But
it's like a small hut, and he's lying over there, and he has those. They put some wood on him. I'm not entirely sure about this part.
I was actually wondering too. Would magical healing or lesser restoration do anything for a broken back, or would you need a spell like regenerate to...
It would depend on the extent of the injury, right? Broken bones, lesser restoration definitely can heal, right? Nerve damage, like irreparable nerve damage in the spinal cord is probably something a bit beyond lesser restoration, right?
Okay.
So it kind of depends on the injury, right? So you would probably, as a cleric, know that like your magic can heal basic things, a snapped arm or broken bones, but there are things in the body that require more than just a simple restoration spell.
Mm.
Or explained. That's why I'm wearing sunglasses. Yeah. My wife looks at me like, "What the fuck are you doing?"
So,
So I'm gonna approach the bed, I guess, with
Yes.
Gorik next to me, and I'm gonna say, hello.
hello. Welcome, seekers.
I'm really tempted to just Mr. Magoo this up and like put my hand out to shake his hand and like accidentally punch him in the face. Very tempting.
They said you fell off a roof.
I did, yes. I was fixing the thatch up there. I sprung a bit of a leak.
Gorik looks up when he says "up there," like he can see anything. Like
you don't have any outward appearance of blindness unless someone looks really, really hard at you. So I think he just takes this as a natural reaction. He says, I don't know what happened. I thought I was very secure up there. I've thatched roofs a number of times in my life, but suddenly I just lost my balance, as if a gust of wind perhaps had knocked me off balance, and I was falling before I knew what happened. Fortunately...
Well, did you feel any wind?
I don't remember feeling any, no. I don't believe it was a particularly breezy day, but it's the only explanation I can think of.
they say, you have eyeball from statue. You still have this object?
Honey, do we have that marble eye that I found? I don't believe so. Maybe. She says, no, I haven't seen it in some time. She begins to kind of look around their little abode, opening kind of cabinets in the kitchen, comes back after a few moments, says, no, it doesn't appear that we have it. I haven't seen it since the accident, really.
Perhaps statue only has one eyeball, I say to Rose.
You took it from the statue, right?
Yes.
That eyeball?
Yes, it was just holding it in its hands. I thought it looked...
Just a single eyeball, nothing else?
Just a single eye, yes. It was marble and it looked fancy. I thought... I told the lord of the manor that perhaps we could sell it. Earn a little extra for the upkeep around here. He didn't want anything to do with it. Said it was on me to do with it as I wanted.
You didn't want anything to do with eyeball before first accident happened?
Well, the statue had been around before I saw it. Mikhail and her husband both disappeared after reporting it to the manor, and I think it had been seen at least once before me. I hadn't heard about a marble eye in it, though. It looked quite fancy. I'm not sure what to tell you. I don't put much stock in disappearances, really.
It is possible we can help you with magic.
Oh, that would be wonderful. I would be much appreciative.
You will have to wait until morning when abilities change. I shall
a while.
I shall pray to the god of death for a blessing for you.
Okay. I need blessings from whoever I can get them from. I will say it's a little unnerving having to ask the god of death for a reprieve, but I'll do what you can. I would be in your debt.
Is there anything else you can tell us?
I'm not sure. I've had some strange dreams, but I think that might be the potion. He can't gesture, but I guess he nods his head towards the potion behind us. When I sleep, I see strange things.
Describe these things to me.
There's I get two of them. One, a swamp. Standing water and ferns and everything. I hear smell the fetid rot of a swamp as I walk through it. I seem to be in the trees, perhaps, or jumping from tree to tree as we stalk through the swamp. Very strange. I don't understand it at all. Sometimes I dream that I'm following someone. Around the orchard. I don't know That seems silly to me, a child's dream, but as if I'm stalking them, watching them, from place to place. I don't know. I have.
Do you
strange
recognize the
imagination.
person you follow in this dream?
They look like a worker here, though I couldn't name them from the dream. Sometimes one, sometimes another. Sometimes a woman with brown hair that comes down to her shoulders. I never see their face. We're just following behind them, slowly. Sometimes a man with close-cropped hair and dark black, broad shoulders, a bit of a limp in his left leg. But no, I don't know them myself. I don't think, or at least I can't recognize them from the dream. I like I said, I don't put much stock in dreams and disappearances. I wish I was more helpful.
How do you feel when you follow these people in your dreams?
Hard to say. You know the feeling you get when you sit in a blind waiting for a stag to cross your path, and you begin to hear one, and you know that soon it's going to get into view, but you have to be extra silent. There's that anticipatory few moments. Something akin to that.
Can I ask, did you have the eye with you when you climbed that roof?
I think so. I put it in my pocket, I believe. I was carrying it around with me. Who knows when you might meet a merchant that comes by to pick up some cider, or pick up some wines, or some fruits from the orchard. Perhaps they would have liked to have bought a mysterious eye. You know, the merchants in Colvier have eyes for oddities, I'm sure. I think I did have it in my pocket, yes. Though he kind of looks at his bandages. I'm not sure I could reach in and find it if it was still there. Did they find... He kind of turns his head to his wife. Did they find an eye in my pocket when they treated me? She kind of shakes her head. I don't remember there being one.
Well, it seems we have learned what we can from this man.
Where do those people live that disappeared first?
He says, Mikhail and her husband, they lived 7 houses over to the right, and then about 8 houses in. Yes, and his wife nods. Yes, that's correct. I don't believe there's anyone in there now. We haven't replaced them, but that was where their home was.
You think we could take a look around there? You think anybody would mind?
No, we are all very happy to assist the Seekers in any way that we can. If you need to look around there, I'm sure no one would object.
Yeah. Maybe tomorrow? I still looking over at Gorik. Maybe having a look tomorrow is a good idea.
Whatever you do.
Thank you. If you should by any chance dream of any of us, send a message, let us know.
He nods his head. Yes, sure.
In your dream, these dreams, see if you have control of yourself. Try and move away or climb down from tree, splash water on your face, or if you are simply spectating.
Yes, I will try, I suppose. Not one for dreaming, but sure, yes, I will try.
Yeah. And I give a little bow, and I guess we'll leave the place behind for now.
I'm gonna
Alright.
sniff his healing tonic, bubbling
Okay.
away in the cauldron.
Okay. You get a good whiff of it. You smell some very strong herbs that seem to be there to mask whatever taste is in it, along with a very acrid smell of something akin to like cocaine. Right, you get this smell of a very potent drug. It's there to just take the edge off the pain.
Turns out that black goo from everything, it's heroin. It's black tar heroin.
I actually have no idea what cocaine smells like. I just realized.
I don't know
it's
either,
okay.
but I'm assuming Goric does, so he gets a good whiff here.
I mean, if anybody knows what Goric does, right?
I mean,
He's seen a lot of shit in his younger days.
363 years.
Yeah, in his 363 years, he's learned basically the doctor here has provided a very, very strong drug similar to the effects of cocaine to take the edge off of the broken back.
Is cocaine really a painkiller?
I have no idea. I assume it would.
The opiates are painkillers.
Opium.
Morphine's an opiate. This is what they had available.
Okay. Well, I mean, I guess technically it doesn't matter what it is. If they get you high enough, you aren't going to care that you're in pain.
That's my general thought.
Yeah, that works. That works. That checks out. You could probably use meth for pain relief in a certain sense. Don't try that at home, kids.
We here at Secrets of Sarmanath do not
endorse
the use of methamphetamines for painkillers.
Yeah.
I'm not saying to use meth as a painkiller. I'm just saying, like, if you were to do that, because you write back your results into...
please report to Sean at gmail.com.
Don't do that.
Yeah. I like the idea. I like the idea that Sean turned into Christopher Walken for a second there. I'm not saying...
All right, so
I condone this.
Rose and Goric, you leave this house. Do you have anything else you are trying to do with your investigation here? Or should we switch over to Tom, Sambar, and Janlar?
I mean, I'm okay with switching over. Goric, do you want to do anything else now?
I can't think of much else for us to do. Goric's blind, so he can't do a lot of looking. He can question people, but it doesn't really sound like there's anybody to question. Maybe we could get the landowner to summon everyone for a meeting or an interview.
Okay.
So,
yeah, so you go talk to the landowner. That is something that he can set up and begins going about the process to do this. You actually don't
after dark when they don't have to work anymore.
Yeah, basically people aren't working for the most part, except for in and around the manor. So this is part of the reason why he wants you here. Is people don't want to go out and get cursed. So you can get that set up. Mostly the main servant goes around pulling people. While that is getting set up, Tom, Sambar, and Janlar, you are led around by Podrick, who takes you to many spots throughout the orchard. All of them similar to the one that you encountered the statue at itself, where different tree lines kind of meet for different nuts or fruits or whatever happens to be growing in this section of the orchard. The path kind of branches different directions, and here in the center of it is where he kind of points. He says, "This is where it was reported." Each one is very similar to the last, right? As you go along, it seems that there have been 8 total sightings. As he takes you kind of through them, he tells you the different people who saw them and what, if anything, has happened to them. All of them have come across some kind of misfortune, whether they have become deathly ill, or their family has, or they've become blinded or maimed in some way. Some have undergone accidents, falling, or just random chance has hurt them and injured them in some way. Some have just up and disappeared. It cannot be located or found. And he kind of shows you each of these locations. You're free to investigate them in any way you feel fit.
Where he points out where the statues were, do I see any marking on the ground where a large statue would have disturbed the ground in any way?
Yeah, as you look at each of these locations, you look for those same kind of markings that you saw next to the one that you encountered. And sure enough, you see kind of like a large depressed area in the grasses or in the dirt where a statue could have been resting, as well as that kind of trail as you look around. In the most fresh locations, the like 4 that he says are most recent, you do indeed see this kind of large trail. And the others, you can't quite get a grasp of it. But it seems to be leading from different areas into the orchard, but all generally back towards the manor house.
At one of the locations, I would cast Detect Magic as a ritual,
Okay.
and see if there's any like residual magic being left behind.
You begin the ritual, chanting your arcane words. You begin waving your hands, and your eyes light up with magic. But you do not see any magic radiating from the area around you. This is not you don't find any auras left over from the locations where the statues rested.
Yeah, Tom, I see no magical auras here.
Yeah, there doesn't seem to be much left. Although interesting that we... How do you suppose it moves around? It leaves a trail.
Indeed. I mean, statues shouldn't move. I don't have much.
Excellent observation, Janlar.
I gotta imagine it
Yep.
floats. It levitates slightly off the ground. That's how I would move a statue. Unless I could animate the statue and allow it to walk around on legs.
We're dealing with rift magic here. Do you have any idea what might be causing it? What its source could be?
No, other than the rifts themselves, I couldn't see any magic that to go off of.
Here, could you take and I'm gonna hand him the dwarf statue that I took from the
I take it.
thing earlier. I'm gonna say, could you identify this when you get the chance?
Yeah. I guess we have time now. Do we want to just?
Might as well. Yeah.
Can we do that in the middle of nowhere? I don't know how.
Yeah. You so you get handed this statue. It looks surprisingly like your new companion, and you can spend another 10 minutes to cast an identification ritual. You grind up your pearl, begin to incant the words, mix your materials together and cast them, place them upon the pearl, maybe focusing in on it, or not on the pearl, on the statue. As you do so, you kind of blink your eyes and look. And Gorik, what are you looking at right now?
I mean, he's
What
blind,
is Gorg
so
looking
nothing.
at?
But where are you?
You're muted. Mike, you're muted.
I am muted. That's not gonna work. Yeah, somebody in chat, the abyss. This is happening simultaneously with when we were talking to that person, right?
Okay. Sure. Yeah.
So let's say like right about this point is the time that he says that he was fixing the roof, or he fell from. He was trying to fix a bit of thatching on the roof. So if he's looking through my eyes, he sees me kind of pointed at this guy who's talking, and then really disorientingly, all of a sudden his vision shifts up to look at the ceiling and then shifts back down again.
Right. So you see this man wrapped in bandages, and
Sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
wrapped in bandages and definitely suffering from a broken back. Seems to be talking, and as suddenly the vision that you see lifts up. You see a thatched roof, and there's a little bit of a hole in it that seems to have been a leak. And it looks back down and back on this man. The eyes kind of wander around the inside of this home. And as your spell kind of fades, your vision returns to you, and you are once again staring at this statue.
Now Dan's muted.
Sorry. Tom, I cast Identify on the statue, and it appears to allow me to see through the eyes of another person. Did at any point Gorik look down at himself or at Rose?
No, it seems like he was just looking at this person here, and the thatched roof. You didn't get a good glimpse of them during the spell.
Okay. I'm not sure exactly whose eyes I was looking through. Does Gorik have any, dark vision or other, senses?
He does have, I think he has
beyond
dark vision.
normal
Dark
vision that I might notice?
I do have dark vision.
Yeah.
If a human was looking through, an owl's eyes, it'd be, way clear or whatever,
I don't think dark vision gives you a clearer, right? Dark vision allows you to pick up more light,
No, for sure.
basically, during
I didn't know if dark vision probably wouldn't work because it's not dark where he's at. But
Yeah, I don't think it's a weird enough magical spell anyway. I'm not sure that you would understand that you were seeing with dark vision capable
Okay.
eyes.
that's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Chandler,
say,
can I borrow a knife?
yeah, I take a small knife, not a dagger, but a small.
John, are you playing an old school cleric where you only have bludgeoning weapons?
No, I also have piercing weapons, but I don't really want to bludgeon or pierce in this scenario.
Yeah, I give him a knife.
So I'm gonna take out the statue of me. I'm gonna very carefully make a small cut in the leg, a very small one. I do not want to damage the statue greatly, but I want to see if that damage on the statue is reflected onto me.
Okay, you slice into the leg of the statue very carefully, and draw a nice little cut across the leg, and you brace yourself, waiting to feel a shock of pain, and nothing comes.
All right, I'm gonna check the spot, make sure there is no injury.
Okay, yeah, you check your leg and find your flesh unmarked, by dagger or magic or anything else at the moment.
Okay.
With my Identify spell, all I did was I was able to see through his eyes. It didn't give me any kind of...
Yes, I just wanted to make sure that it wasn't linking us too thoroughly. Right, if these statues were somehow tied to our existence, we'd have to safeguard them very carefully.
I'm not sure that it was Gorik's eyes I was seeing through, but...
I'm not sure who else you would have seen.
That's fair. All I saw was a man and broken back. It would make sense.
Sounds like the person that we were...
Correct. It would make sense that I was looking through Gorik's eyes at that point. Now that
Yeah.
I talk about it, it makes more and more sense.
What bizarre statues.
This is where we find out, if you give me the statue, I can see through my eyes through the statue.
I'm actually curious to try that.
Like lag vision. I'm looking through the statue's looking through my eyes. I'm looking through the statue's eyes, looking through my eyes.
Is it possible for you to
I
identify
just
the
wanted to
one?
make sure I understand correctly. With the Identify spell, I didn't get any kind of a command word that would cause us to work.
No, it
Like-
seems that your magic, when cast upon this statue, interacted with it in a strange and unusual way that you weren't expecting. But your identification did not lead you to greater answers of what the item is. But it did grant you this vision for the duration of the spell. So I think that the duration of Identify is actually pretty instantaneous. But you did
Right.
get a moment of view through Gorik's eyes.
Were both of our statues radiating magic?
Yes.
See, I'm curious because the fact that this thing exists makes me wonder if he saw through Gorik's eyes because that's what was taken from Gorik was his vision. But then what would he get if he cast Identify on the statue of me because I did not lose anything as far as I can tell.
Yeah, Janlar's also been thinking that, but he looks into his pack and sees 3 pearls now, and
It's like, I'm running
Really
low on
just
these
staring at
pearls,
them.
man.
Janlar, do you want to identify the statue of me as well?
yes, I will. Begin grinding it up as well.
Another 10 minutes is spent as the servant looks on in awe as you're just grinding up these pearls and working this magic and talking about these strange esoteric things. And as you cover Tom's statue with your materials and you focus in on it, you get this strange interaction again. But this time, when you open your eyes, you see normally, but it's a very out-of-body experience, right? You open your eyes looking kind of down at this scene, with you holding the statue and looking at Tom, and as you look around, you get the feeling that something is watching. You get this feeling of dread in the air.
I don't know if I can do it, but I want to try to describe everything I'm seeing as it occurs. I don't know if you
Sure. Yeah. So as this is happening, like you have a running kind of stream of consciousness that both Tom and Sambar, and the servant, can hear as you describe this. You are looking down at this statue and you feel something in the air around you, watching.
I'm going
ominous.
to attempt to detect magic and look up when he tells me about that. Then
Okay.
I want to see if I can, detect any presence.
You try to detect magic, and you get the same readings that you did the last time that you detected magic on these statues. But you feel
I'm not trying to do the statues. I'm trying to look up because he said that there was like something looking down at us from above.
As you look around, up and around, you see no other sources of magic at the moment.
Okay.
And as you, not Tom, but Janlar, kind of look around from your elevated perch, you see to the east of you in one of the orchards a little black shadow perched in a tree that looks very, very similar to the statue. Crouched in a beggar's position. Just sitting and
I
waiting
can't
in the
sleep
tree.
tonight, Greg. Stop it. It's awful. Jesus
And
Christ.
As your
Oh my
spell
God.
ends, you are back in yourself holding Tom's statue. And the feeling of something there and watching and oppressive drifts away from you. You are back once again as yourself.
Do you want my theory on that, Janlar?
Go ahead.
I think you saw through Gorik's eyes because his vision was taken from him, and he looked down from above when you used it on me because it's still waiting for its opportunity to take something from me.
Interesting. Could be.
Are you saying somewhere out there's one of these things that has like 2 spines because it broke the one guy's back?
We think it's like mega scoliosis, but it turns out it just has like a fortified twisting spine.
Yeah, it's got a double spine now.
It has resistance to backbreakers.
Yeah.
The only immediate way to figure out if that's the case that comes to mind would be to go put a pearl in the statue's eye myself, see if it creates a small statuette for myself.
Do
Do you want to give it a shot?
Are the statues that they're holding, are they made of the same like onyx material that we stuck into the...
It looks to be very similar to the material of the gemstone, yes.
Okay.
When I identified it, did I get a value?
A value? No.
Yeah, there's a wizard spell that needs like a small statue of yourself, right?
So the valuation of material is very different from the identification of its magical properties.
Okay, hold on. Wait, did you say you need a small statue of yourself as a material component?
I think isn't there a spell that you have? A statue?
Yes.
Even if there is, are you sure that's the statue you want to use, though?
I was gonna say even if it's not an expensive statue, I'd say that should totally count.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway, I guess I don't have that spell yet, so I'm not sure if it would work. Yeah. So the only idea I have is if I would go get one myself and cast Identify on it as well.
I'm not sure if we need to identify any further at this point, but I mean, this seems pretty open and shut, right?
Yeah, I think what we need to do is we need to go get Gorik and Rose and go look for the shadow. We appear to
Agreed.
have a spot before it moves. Do we have time to go back for them? How close are we?
How close are you from the manor?
Yeah.
You're probably less than an hour's walk back to the manor.
All right, then I say we start running
Yeah,
back.
let's go collect them. I'd rather not do this without all of us.
All right, so you begin making your way back to the manor. By the time you get back after having visited all of the locations of the statues and having done your experimentations, you find collected in the manor of the sitting hall of the manor, where you first arrived. You walk into a scene of just a sea of people, as all the families of the laborers have been gathered here, and Rose and Goric are sitting there holding some kind of town hall with them, trying to interview all the people, and probably having a lack of success, as there were many more people than they anticipated there being when they set up an opportunity to interview all of them. And they are at the center of this, trying their damnedest to get everyone in an orderly fashion and interview them.
Goric has been using thaumaturgy, by the way, to make his eyes milky white so that he looks blind.
Oh, okay. Perfect.
just so the visual matches up with what people are expecting.
Nice. All right. The whole kind of crowd is just murmuring in here, and some of them shouting out ideas and suggestions like, "Oh, I bet we could go to the swamp and ask the lady of the swamp for help." And someone's like, "Oh, it's a terrible idea," and we should dig up all the statues and burn them, or we all have to move, we're cursed, and just all kinds of crazy ideas you can slung about as you've put a lot of scared people all together at once in the same room.
I'll carefully pick my way through this crowd and
All
say, have you learned anything interesting so far?
Well, we learned that the man who lost back has dreams where he looks through the eyes of another creature. We learn sometimes this creature is stalking other people from the vineyard. We learn that sometimes this creature is in swamp. And I point in the direction that somebody just shouted something. We just learned there is swamp nearby.
Might be a good next place to look. I can tell you a little bit about what we learned once we get a little bit more privacy. This is a bit. How did you get so many people?
Well, we tell Lord to assemble all the workers.
The main servant pops up, as you say that, being very attentive, and goes, it was their idea to have an entire roundtable of investigations, shortened the time you need to be here. I, in fact, made it happen.
I see. Let's go through some interviews really fast then.
Excellent.
I looked at Tom. We don't have much time.
Goric will use thaumaturgy to make his voice boom and quiet everybody down and say, "If you have interacted with statue, step forward. If you have only seen and never touched, move to back of room and be silent."
This booms out, echoing across the room, and almost everyone begins to step back and murmur amongst themselves. And there are only a handful of about 6 people that step forward that have interacted with it and are in the room here to talk about it. Almost all of them seem to be hurt in some way. One is just deathly sick looking. He's sweating, pale to the point of being almost translucent. It's so pale. He looks weak and just sick. He has a racking cough. The others are bruised and broken in some way. Many have broken arms or legs. There's one who is missing their hand entirely. Has been bandaged. And they all kind of step forward and say, we've had interactions with the statue.
Good. Now, those of you at the back, if you have suffered misfortune just from seeing statue, raise your hand.
And there's a smattering of hands that go up, probably about 30 or 40 hands raise up in the back.
Let's have Sambar weed through them and see which of them have made up misfortunes and which have had real misfortunes.
Sambar, snaps to attention. He's like, all right, I'm on it. And he bounds his way through the crowd and begins grabbing all the people with hands.
For you
Yeah.
six, how many? What did you do to interact with the statue?
Two of them said, well, we were ordered to dig it up and dispose of it. So we came with pickaxes and shovels to get it out of the ground, and attempted to do just that. We picked it up and put it in a wheelbarrow, wheeled it to the dump on the other side of the orchard. Then two more said, similar story with us. We were tasked with getting rid of it. We decided to take some hammers to it, broke it down into little pieces, then threw those out. Then the last ones to say, we came across it in our work. There was a strange statue. We just looked at it and tried to. I just touched it. It had something in its hands. I picked up and looked at it. It's like a little eye. I put it back, but still got me.
Which
Did
one's
any?
missing their hand? Sorry.
Huh?
Which one is missing their hand?
One of the ones that did not try to move the statue, but just simply interacted with it. He says, me too. I picked up the eye inside to look at it. Left it there. Left everything alone that I could.
And you and the people who disappeared, you are the only ones who have touched the statue?
And they look around and say, I guess so. They say they haven't. One of them points over to the crowd there.
Well, this person breaks statue, he still has hands. This person take eye and put it back. None of them seem to have kept eye except man who broke his back.
Right. And it doesn't appear that how you interacted with it has much bearing on what it does to you, does it?
Doesn't seem that way. Some of these people tried to dump it, some people break it, some people simply interact with eyeball. All seem to have suffered physical injuries.
Of varying types that don't seem consistent with what they've done.
Does anyone know what the couple who disappeared do with statue?
They all kind of shake their heads. I think they were tasked with getting rid of it as well. I never heard from them.
In what direction is the swamp?
Oh, there's a coastal swamp. He kind of points his head. He says, if we look at the map here, and he points over to a map on the wall. Colvir is near the coast. If we get far enough to the west of the orchards here, there's a coastal swamp that leads into this bay here. A lot of local legends about it, but we leave it pretty fair alone. It's not great ground to grow anything other than ferns and cattails and a few swampy trees.
If you were to come from if I guess Rose looks at the map. If you were to come from the swamp and were to approach the manor, would you pass the servants' houses, like the workers' houses, before you made it to the manor?
Yes, I think so. I mean, it depends on which part of the swamp you came from. It's a coastal swamp, it's fairly large, but yes, generally the swamp is west. The manor is east of the labor houses, so you would come upon them first.
It seems everyone who has suffered misfortune has either taken something from statue, done nothing with statue, or acted with aggression. Maybe Lord of Manor needs to invite it inside, buy it a drink. Maybe then it'd give him blessing.
I was thinking about giving it a gold coin. I thought we were very nice by giving it eyes, and that did not work out at all for us.
Janlar kind of stays silent, but is anxious to go to the
Anyways,
where we saw it.
we should probably get out of here. We learned a few things ourselves. We can tell you on the way, but I think we need to head out.
I'll be right back.
And Gorik pieces out. All right.
I don't even know where he's going. He doesn't know where he's going. Gorik like walks off into a corner, bumps into the wall.
So you gather your party and the servants begin to clear the room out, saying the seekers have done what they need. Sambar comes back and he says, I feel like there's a lot of people making things up over here. I got some weird stories.
My wife left me.
I'm excited to hear those weird stories from Millman next week.
He says, no, just I don't think any of them are really telling the truth. Let's scared people, if you ask me. Blaming everything,
right.
from sour stew to, a particularly cold morning.
Right. So
Someone
it seems like
dropped a pot.
So it seems like the only ones who really suffer misfortune are the ones who interact directly with the statue.
That was exactly what I was expecting most of these people to say.
Yeah, like, oh, it was too cold.
My pie went missing off of my ledge. I'm sure it was the Fey folk.
He says, I heard that exact story. Eventually, the manor house is cleared out by the servant staff that is dedicated to the manor. It takes some time, but it clears out for you.
All right, and we just head out.
Okay.
Janlar, you know where you want to take us, right? To the spot where you saw the statue?
Yeah. Or the shadow in the tree.
The shadow is more the goal here. So, Gorik, forgive me for this, but I'm going to try and take the knife to Gorik's statue as well and make like a small cut on the leg.
All right, you delicately make a small cut on the leg and wait. But Gorik, you don't cry out in pain, or you don't feel anything upon your leg.
Okay.
And after checking his extremities, you don't see a mark, whether magical or from a weapon.
Gorik is like standing there and then goes, "Are you going to do something or?"
Yeah, I did. It worked out. So we did some tests with
Gorik like pats himself. He's like, "What did you do? I didn't feel anything."
I didn't do anything to you. So these statues, we did some work with them.
What statues?
Oh, I never told you about them, did I? When we finished with our battle, those cockatrices that we killed, we found a couple of small black statues in the hands of the main statue, the beggar, and they're in our forms. They are our appearances.
Nice.
We did some work with them. It turns out that they're linked to us somehow.
I hold out my hand.
Here's your statue. I'll give it to him.
Does thaumaturgy let you warm or cool something the way that prestidigitation does? I know it does slightly different stuff.
I am not familiar with thaumaturgy super well.
Thaumaturgy
I've
gives
taken
you a list of effects.
prestidigitation almost every time.
I mean, I assume you could probably do that with thaumaturgy, right? Because you can make effects happen with thaumaturgy, and what it gives you is just an example list, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm totally down with you thaumaturgying some warming or cooling of an object. That's the point of the spell, really, in my opinion. Whether or not it's listed as an effect.
I can make it change color. Oh no, I can make flames change color. But yeah, I'll try and just use minor magical abilities to alter the statue and see if it does anything.
What are you going to try to? How are you trying to alter the statue?
Well, the first thing I'm going to try is either heating it up or cooling it down.
Okay.
I'm also going to try. I don't know exactly what exactly I can do with it. I don't want to try and break it. Does it
shatter on it?
Yeah. Does it feel like it's some sort of solid material, or is it hollow, or?
You feel it, and it's you knock on it next to your ear. It doesn't sound hollow. It doesn't give you the impression of a hollow thing, although that is pretty hard to tell. It feels like a solid piece of that.
Oh yeah, because it's only the size of a Lego guy, isn't it?
Yeah.
I was thinking it was a little bit bigger than that. It would be hard to tell with something that size.
Right.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know. I can't think of anything else to try and do with it, really.
So I would, at some point, I would explain to it while he's looking at it. I would explain that what we saw.
Yeah, that it seems to be
I
linked
saw.
to his vision.
I believe that I saw it through his eyes, and I would ask them to explain, or I'd ask Rose to describe the guy with the broken back.
Yeah, I mean, I will.
And then confirm that it matches with what I saw.
It does, yes.
Yeah, and then kind of explain to them what I saw through the eye. And then I saw this shadow in the forest. Or the orchard, I mean.
Interesting. The broken back man. I'd never ask his name. This is rude of me.
Marvin? Wasn't that Marvin?
Correct. Yes.
Okay. Ah, good. Marvin.
Looks like Rose saved you there, Gorik.
He said he had dreams of stalking someone, and in this dream he felt like Hunter waiting for opportunity to strike. Is this similar to experience you have looking through statue of Thomas?
I'm not sure. When I looked through the statue, I felt a weird, almost demonic presence. And didn't last very long, but I looked at myself in the third person. I'm not sure how he felt in his dreams.
He was describing it to me. It sounded... He said dreadful was a word that he used. I have to imagine the malice there probably implies some sort of predator.
This sounds similar to Dream. In Dream, this man also goes through swamp. Perhaps there is clue there.
That's what we were thinking.
Maybe we find statue or shadow of statue and move the swamp if no leads are here.
I have to imagine the statue is just some kind of proxy, and what we're really looking for is going to be perhaps whatever that shadow is.
Perhaps.
I agree. The shadow, it reminded me of the shadow we found back in Willard's Mill, right? Yeah.
Could you remind me about that? My memory is a little bit...
Here, Greg.
What?
Are you talking about the one that I was here for, or the one from the last episode that I wasn't there for?
Oh, yeah, I don't think you were there for it.
I mean, you struck a killing blow.
You did,
I
yeah.
remember there being a shadow that you were interacting with in the graveyard, but it just kind of like looked at you really closely and was like, sup. And you just kind of looked back at it like, sup. And then that was the extent of any kind of shadows that we dealt with while I was in sessions.
Yeah, I'm assuming it looked like that one, right?
Yes, that's a fair assumption. It looks similar.
I thought you said the
one
statue
was a
he saw on the
beast.
tree looked like, or the shadow he saw on the tree looked like the statue.
It did, but I mean,
Okay.
like, shadows
Imported
are
in that
shadows,
pose,
right?
yeah.
You could see similarities between a shadow beast and a shadow beggar.
Okay.
But it did. The shadow you saw in the tree was in the same pose and looked very similar to the statue that you saw, right?
Okay.
But if it reminded you of the beast in Willard's Mill, it's fair.
Okay. Yeah, I guess I would just continue kind of looking through the orchard continue going until we find where.
Yeah, you arrive. You can
Statue.
lead the party to the spot where you and Tom were investigating, and did your experiments with the statues to find, it just as you left it, though later in the day, kind of later in the afternoon now.
Didn't you say when I was like looking through, I saw it like up in the trees, right? The shadow.
Yes,
of the trees.
yes. It was off of the path, right? And you are in between where like two different orchards meet, right? And this is why the path is here. To one side, there's like fruit-bearing trees. To another, they grow like walnuts or something. They rotate these orchards, I guess, across their paths. Here you're at a crossroads of orchards where the statue was once seen.
Do I detect any presence, or does my mark Do I feel anything through my Seeker's Mark?
Since you have stepped into the orchard, all of you have had a kind of dull pain from the mark, since you first saw the statue. It has not abated nor grown in strength, but you continue to feel the same sensation that we described earlier. But no, much like when your spell ended from the identify, as soon as that ended and your experience came back down to normal, you don't get that overwhelming feeling of dread. You only felt that while you were interacting with the statue of Tom.
Gorik will look at, I think it was Janlar that was talking, and say, "You said this statue here. It is at intersection of two orchards. We are at crossroads."
It always is. It's always at a crossroads.
He's always at crossroads. All other locations were at crossroad?
Yes.
What other crossroads are on Orchard?
Splits in the path. What are you looking for here?
Maybe it come from somewhere. Is there perhaps crossroad that has been changed recently?
Well, we saw tracks. So did the tracks align with any particular direction in the crossroads whenever we looked at them? Like, did it look like it had come down a road, or like it had just been off a path and then showed up at that point?
More like it was off a path and showed up at that point. But
Okay.
They all generally went back towards the direction of the manor. In various ways. I mean, they're following a path, but it seems to arrive from, like, towards that, like, manor area.
So its source direction is the manor.
It seems to be, or at least that area
Okay.
from where you've located it.
Maybe the
Now I'm very
owner isn't being forthcoming.
Yeah,
Rose
that's
might
what
have
I'm
said
starting to
earlier.
wonder.
I think we should maybe investigate the house of those people that have gone missing first. Maybe there's a clue there. Because they say that these people are missing and that it might be because of the statue, but do we really know? Nobody has seen them. They're not hurt, they just disappeared entirely. That's very different from these other people, isn't it?
We might want to split up again, because with that little bit of the paths all going back to the manor, I have a few questions I might want to ask a couple of servants.
Were the people who went missing, were they the first people to go missing or suffer misfortune?
Yes, Tehran just told you that this all started about a little more than 2 weeks ago, and the first people that he sent to interact with this statue just went missing. They're gone.
They were patient zero, basically.
They were patient zero, yes.
Okay.
Do you want to split up for that, or do you want to do these things one at a time?
Sorry. If we're going to split up, I would say I would go back to the manor with Tom and see if I can't detect magic somewhere in the manor while we're...
Right. I'd like to try to interview a few of the servants, see if I can learn anything from them.
My ability to investigate is limited right now.
That's true. Maybe we should all go together to this to these missing folks' home first.
Go to the house first and then go back to the manor after that.
Yeah, perhaps
I
the
really
small-
would rather not walk around by myself with the statue that walks, you know?
Understandable. We'll go together.
All right. So the group of you return back the way you came, another hour's walk or so. It's beginning to lead more and more towards the evening now, as you've used up most of your afternoon. You reach the manor proper, and a few hundred yards back, you find the homes of the servants and laborers. Using the directions that you got from Marvin who fell, you locate the abandoned property of those who went missing. You just see like a very normal looking home from the outside, thatch roof like everything else, seems to be in fairly good working order. As you open the door and step in, you find mostly just like what you would expect to see in a laborer's home: small bed, small fireplace, some cooking utensils, things like that. But notably here, you do see a fair number of trinkets hanging. dream catchers, spiritual tokens that hang from the ceiling over the bed and over the cookplace and near the window. Small things made of bone and web and feathers, just natural tokens in the home.
We were led here by the servant, right?
I assumed you were coming here yourselves, but
I thought you mentioned a servant. I might have just imagined that.
You could easily go find one.
Yeah, I'm gonna say, the family that went missing, they went missing after interacting with the statue, right?
Yes, they did.
How long did it take for them to go missing?
They reported. They reported the statue's appearance to the Lord of the Manor, who said, "Oh, how awful! Why is there a random statue in my orchard? Someone must have put it here. Please remove it." And he ordered them to go do it since they found it, and then they were
Nobody saw them again.
Never heard from again. No.
Interesting.
Have you been to this house before?
Me? Well, I haven't been invited in. Not great friends with them, but yes, I've been in most all of these when they were constructed. What do you need to know of it?
Were these two particularly... Go ahead, Rose.
I was just wondering if these were hanging there before, but I guess if you haven't been in there since they moved in, you wouldn't.
No, not since they moved in.
Do you know if they were particularly superstitious?
I believe so. She more than him. Was a bit of a believer in the Lady of the Swamp. I believe they call her Morgan. There's a big group of I don't know, believers, I guess, in this area. Colvir has many superstitions of the Lady of the Swamp. If you go to her and barter with her, she can give you trinkets like these, meant to bring you better luck or good fortune, or help you be fertile. I don't know. I say there's a crazy hermit in the swamp. Best to leave them be.
I see.
Do I see a dream catcher, Greg? Is there actually a dream catcher
Yes,
there?
yes. Over their bed, there's a dream catcher made of bone, feather, tied together with spider silk.
When we were interviewing the people who were injured,
Yes.
You had mentioned that some people had lost their sight. Were there any blind people there?
Yes. Yes. Of the 6 that were injured, 2 of them had lost their sight as well.
Okay. How long had they been blind for?
Since their accident, all of them had various accidents after interacting with the statue in some way, and some of them grew sick a few days later and lost their sight. One of them had an accident with some lye that they were working with that got in their eyes and took their sight.
Okay.
Seeming like freak accidents, like somehow out of nowhere, like a gust of wind maybe took the lye into their eyes, although it wasn't a windy day or it was indoors. All of the accounts of the injuries that they have befallen come like that, just freak and out of nowhere.
Okay.
I have one question I want to ask the servant then.
Oh yes, sure.
I'd like you to speak candidly with me here, so I'll leave this conversation in confidence. What can you tell me about the lord of this manor?
Oh, not much. He signs my paychecks. No, not really. He gives us a place to live, food on the table, a wage to go into Colvir to buy what we need. We are laborers, and this is the best way that we have to earn a living here. Sometimes we come and go, but Many times people stay here with their families for a lifetime of work. He's eccentric. He loves to hunt. Will occasionally go on hunts south of Door Castle. He likes to collect things with the money he earns. He has a large collection. I see you. I'm sure you've seen the art that hangs. He collects arts and trinkets from around the world. I don't know him very personally. How well do you know your boss?
Oh, I understand that. He didn't work with any business partners in the past, or...
many business partners come and go all the time. Merchants come in to pick up wines or ciders or fruits or whatever the harvest may be, whatever we produce. There are many people that make the trek from Colville. I've even seen merchants from as far as Far Arden make their way to the manor house. They hold business meetings over fine meals and make deals for large sums of money.
Does he ever go hunting in the swamp?
Oh, no, I don't believe so, but who knows where he goes hunting. I haven't heard of that happening.
Thank you. That's all.
Sure. Whatever we can do to help you.
He's not married, is he?
I do not believe he has ever been married, no. I came into his employ some 15 years ago, so he was still an older gentleman when I started working here, but no. I have not seen a wife in my time, and I do not believe he was married beforehand, though I do not know for certain beyond these 15 years.
Who gets vineyard when he dies?
I am not sure. I am not privy to the workings of the business side so much.
This guy's like his butler, right?
Yes, one way to describe me. Yes.
Okay. What accommodations have been made for our stay until statue is gone?
Your rooms are made up with guest rooms, the same rooms that his business partners stay in. You will find baths, meals to be provided, should you require them. Some butlers at your service. The standard fare, I assure you, but you will find it nice. I hope so, anyway. Do you wish to see your rooms? I can take you there. Prepare a meal for you.
I'm sure we can find them on our own.
Certainly, as you wish.
Gorik will go. I may need some assistance finding.
I'm sure we can help you with that, Gorik.
Excellent. Well then, is there anything more I can help you with?
I don't have anything.
Good. All right. I shall return to my duties then.
All right. Do you suppose we should turn in for the night here? I'm rather eager for the chance to potentially piss off a statue tomorrow by hopefully returning Gorik's sight.
Is there, just real quick before we leave, is there a bookshelf in this little thing?
In this little house?
This little apartment?
No, not a true bookshelf, right? It probably would be more than a laborer's salary to afford a great many books. There is a trunk.
A diary, maybe? Educated guess? Probably not.
There's a trunk next to the bed that you can open up and go through, in which you do find some small books. They're mostly prayer books, right? They seem to be of a superstitious sort. You notice a very kind of Wiccan-esque ideology behind them.
Can I pick them up and take them with me to study?
Sure. But your studies do not reveal a diary that was kept.
That's okay. I will take the Wiccan books.
Okay. So, you have a pair of Wiccan books in your possession. The rest of you return to the manor and find your rooms done up to as much satisfaction as you can. Large beds, king or queen sized, with very nice covers and very very high quality. This is a guest room for rich merchants to come and stay in, and so you have very fine furniture, spaciousness. You have your own like personal wash basins in the rooms, kind of cordoned off with those kind of blinds. There is small trunks and cupboards for you to place your luggage should you need to. All the accommodations. Food is set for the night. You can eat by yourselves in your room if you desire. It's kind of like a buffet style, but the Lord's table is available. Taranj does sit at it and eat and sip a fine wine in the evening.
I'll probably eat dinner with him.
Okay. Yeah. He kind of talks to you about your day. He says, have you discovered anything about the statues? Do you think that we are getting any closer?
Perhaps. Statue always seems to appear at crossroads. People who interact with it seem to, and he kind of waves his hand in front of his face, suffer misfortunes.
Well, seems that you were blind before you came, so good thing it hasn't gotten to you.
A question, your butler man, he says
yes.
You have never been married. You have no children?
No children. A bachelor's life for me.
Who gets vineyard when you die? His possible rival is trying to sabotage you to claim inheritance?
Ooh, spicy. No, I don't believe so. Perhaps he's thinking about it. I might have to look into my competition a little more closely. But no, the land is owned by myself on a grant from the Duke of Colvere. Should I die, the Duke still owns it. I'm sure it will be sold to another or given to them as a boon. Perhaps I should have had children, but a younger me was less interested in legacy and more in wealth and acquisition. And he kind of spreads his hands across the table to the fine silverware and the art that hangs, and says, I didn't end up with that lifestyle.
Well, it's very human to not worry about legacy.
Yes. We are not quite as long-sighted as our fellow races.
Is anything changed with your relationship with Duke before statues show up?
Oh no, I seem
not
to be
fallen
on
out of
excellent
favor.
terms. I pay a hefty rent to him, but get to keep my profits. Seems everything was in order upon our last collection of tax. No, I have not had any loss in relations that I know of.
And anything change before statues show up? You go on big hunt, you anger anyone, wandering gypsy issues curse at you.
The old wandering gypsy. No, I fear Esmeralda did not come to my vineyard anytime soon. Look, who knows these things? Politics and business go hand in hand, and perhaps there's someone out there annoyed with my pricing or what have you. Not every negotiation goes smoothly, but not that I'm aware of. No, I can't point to any one thing.
Do you ever visit the swamp?
Oh, the coastal swamp, nasty place. I once hunted there, trying to find a large crocodile. I wanted to stuff it, place it in my trophy room. The hunt went rather poorly, not a great place. You have to be a rather committed huntsman to hunt the swamp. I'm more of a trophy man myself.
And did anything happen on this hunting trip? Anything interesting to report?
Oh, no. Let me think. Nothing that I think is very important. We came across some bullywugs. They were quite a sight. Have you ever seen one? My goodness. The bullywugs with their large eyes, the croaky language. They rattled some spears at us. We chased them off. I was interested in perhaps seeing the fabled Lady of the Swamp, but I didn't look her up. Hard to navigate. Even with a guide, we got lost a couple times. Let's see, what else did we find? We heard the shrieking of some kind of creature that we couldn't track down. It seemed to lead us in circles around the swamp while we were chasing it. But no, your standard fare, really. We ran into a few pixies and some elemental creatures of the swamp and had to chase them off. You know, anytime you are out in the wild, you have to be prepared for these things, but no, nothing unusual.
I see. Well, thank you for the dinner. I myself am going to retire for the evening.
Ah, very good, very good. I hope that you have good fortune on the morrow and come to a speedy conclusion of what ails us.
When we were going to the very first sighting point, the one that the family that disappeared went to, there was a mark of the statue having been there, right?
No, only in the most recent areas.
I know the tracks were gone, but like that depression from where it...
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. And so
before I retire for the evening, could I possibly ask, what was the name?
Torrance.
Torrance.
Yes.
Can I ask Torrance for for him to show me around his house? I can't think of the word.
Oh, sure, you wish to have a tour. Excellent. I love to show off all of my gadgets and gizmos and art and collections. Yes.
Before you take me on your tour, just give me a few moments to get ready. And I'd
sure.
like to go into another room and cast detect magic.
Yes.
Oh, wow. Chandler's looking for them goods.
All right, yes, come with me, young man. Yes. What was your name again? I don't think I caught yours.
My name is Chandler.
Chandler. We have sights to behold. Come, I shall start with my art gallery. And he leads you out into the western wing, into a nice, big art gallery with lots of paintings with labels underneath them and who made them. He says, my favorites are made by these friendly elves I met on the other side of Far Arden. You should really see the way they work. It's very interesting. Each brushstroke is a single day's worth of work for them, and then they come back on the morrow.
If I don't see any magic in the immediate vicinities of different places, I'll just kind of like hurry him along.
Okay.
Yes.
You try to hurry him along, but he is a man that is unhurriable when it comes to his collection, and he wants to tell you about every little thing. For the duration of the 10 minutes of your detect magic, please give me a perception check, and we'll see if you manage to spot anything of magical value.
Perception. What was my perception stat? Minus.
Okay, so you take a good long look around. You eventually find nothing in the first art room. He leads you down to the rest of his halls. You're looking around. You don't see anything in the halls. As he leads you through a thing that he calls his collection, down a level of stairs, kind of in a basement, past the cellars where they keep and brew their liquors. You are in a room just full of like odd trinkets, and he keeps picking things up. He's got like skulls that have been painted and are encrusted in gems. He's got goblets. He's got just all kinds of like odd things down here. Among them, you do see a large bookshelf with just like all kinds of odd and old tomes, and he goes through each one telling you about their locations and how he found them and why they're so rare and what's inside of them. But sitting on the shelf, just as like a decoration, is what looks like just a standard ink pot with a feather. But it does radiate some magic from the School of Illusion. But unfortunately, this is all the magic that you detect before your spell winks out, and the rest of the tour is given to you late into the night. All right, and so the five of you.
Does he say anything about the ink? Does he?
No, it's an ink pot to him. He puts if you ask him about it, he says, "Oh, decorative, isn't it? Very fancy pot. Picked it up for a few gold coins over in a exchange in Far Arden. Very interesting place. You get a lot of seafaring people that make their way there. I don't know why. It's not particularly on an easy to access port, but it's a city of great culture.
It's marvelous looking. How much did you pay for it?
Oh, I think it was 8 gold coins.
You fox.
I wish. I don't have the money. I look into my pack and I think about the jewels and take out a few of the jewels and say, would you be interested in a trade?
Oh, you wish to buy my inkwell? Well, down to business, we say. I paid 8 gold coins for it. You seem interested in it. I could be persuaded to sell it to you. He kind of looks at the gems and he says, oh, well, let me see. I'm no dwarf, but I know a thing or two about gemstones. Let's see if I can appraise these well. And he pulls out a monocle, kind of looks at them, and says, good. Seems you're not the kind to pull tricks. And he waves them in his hand and says, I believe I could part with my precious inkwell for... counts out. I would like 8 of these.
Weren't they worth like 25 gold apiece?
Yes.
Yeah, there's 20 of them. You said we get 20 of them and they're worth 66 total gold.
Are these your diamonds or the onyx?
No, these are the diamonds.
So
I think we all have 10 or something.
you said 10. I have 20 written down, but if it's 10, then they're...
Maybe. I don't know. I don't remember.
I don't even remember us getting diamonds. I just remember onyx stones.
Well, you didn't get any at this point because you
Oh,
died.
okay.
way
That
too
makes
You've died twice since the diamonds were handed out.
Well, I didn't even remember getting them. These are the ones they got for the Willard's Mill quest?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so if there's 20 of them like I thought, then that would be like 26 gold. Yeah. I said it'll work, and
An easy negotiation. A bargain is struck, and he clasps your hands and takes down the ink pot and puts the feather with it, hands it to you. Says, excellent, worthy trade. And then he wanders off into his collection, finds some other pretty trinket in a box and places it there to act as the decoration. And you are
That
a
one's
proud
even
owner
more
of a magic
magical.
inkwell. So the evening comes to an end, and you are all laid to bed as night comes. Goric, you are
One thing.
yes.
Just before. So first of all, we have 10 stones. Each of us. I have it written down. I think it was 33 per person. Is that correct? Because it was 100 total. Yeah. And so when night comes, Rose is not gonna sleep in a room.
Okay.
First of all, she's taken off while the other people were at dinner. She's taken off all the trophies in her room and put them on the floor and put a blanket on top. And then as night falls, she leaves a room with a grassy blanket and she positions herself in front of Gorik's door. Because she said that, she would pay attention and take care of him, right? As long as he's blinded. So she's like taking a watch in front of his door that night. Because she knows he's blind.
In front of Gorik's door.
If anything happens. Exactly. So she's just sitting there, like huddled into her grassy blanket with like one of those Wiccan books. And it's like leafing through it, and you see like the moonlight probably shining through the window as she's like reading it.
All right, you are posted up with Goric. As the sleep comes to the rest of you, Goric, you begin to dream, and your dream begins rather inauspiciously in the depths of a swamp. You seem to be dreaming in like the first person as your eyes wander through the swampy terrain. The heavy stenches of fetid flesh and rot in the swamp fill your nostrils. You begin moving rather quickly, seemingly leaping from tree to tree across this swamp, hunting and slowly making your way through. You stop.
As I'm leaping, am I like Tarzan, like reaching out and grabbing vines and pulling myself across or anything, or?
No, it just seems that you are able to leap like in a single jump from these branches.
Okay.
And you.
I'm not in his dream, but can he see in his dream?
Yeah, I was gonna say. Can
Yes.
I see any of my body? Does it look like my body, or?
No. It seems. It's hard to tell. It seems dark and shadowy, even in the swamp here, or especially because of the swamp here. I mean to say, but it seems like a human body, although tall and black and shadowy. Just that's the impression you get from the body itself. But as you kind of, from glimpses you get of yourself as you wander through here, you seem to have human hands and human feet as you're leaping through the trees. You stop and spy on some lizard folk in the swamp, but eventually move on from the hunt and make your way through the swamp. You cross a river towards a small hut that you see in the distance. But as you get close, you see a small fountain outside of the hut. A bamboo fountain in the Japanese style that's filling slowly with water. And as it releases and falls down, it makes a large clacking sound, wood against wood. For some reason, this wooden sound grates against you like nails on a chalkboard, and it repels you. So you give up on this look into the home, make your way out of the swamp. Slowly you make your way through the night, wandering ever closer to some trees in the distance. You begin to recognize them. They're orange trees that are packed on the grove here. You begin leaping from tree to tree, finding yourself in the eventually staring across the servants' quarters. You recognize the meeting today. You stalk around these for some time, looking at each of them, eventually giving up, moving your way towards the manor house, crawling your way along the many windows, peering in, trying to find. Eventually, you come across the sleeping form of your friend Tom. You see him there, and you just wait. You get the sense of the stalking and the hunt has begun.
Do I have any control over my body, or am I purely a spectator?
You're spectating.
Okay.
And the figure rests outside this window, and stalks and just waits patiently.
I'm looking through a window at Tom.
Yes.
Can I see any reflection of my face in the window that I'm looking through?
Yes. It is a hazy reflection, dark and shadowy in the night and the starlight. But it is a human face, most definitely. Eyeless. The eyes seemingly gouged out and taken. But the features are plain but recognizable. They look very similar to that of the statue you saw earlier, though not carved in stone. Eventually, your dream ends with you waiting outside of this room. And you awake in the morning with this fresh in your mind. And I believe this is an excellent time to take our second break. We will come back into play the next morning as Gorik and the rest of you awaken from your night's sleep. Until then, we will be... I don't know. We'll get some food and stuff. We'll see you soon.